Europe?
Well, in terms of NAFTA, I would say that people here in Europe are looking at this more from the sidelines. Of course, it's going to be interesting to see how Trump will do and, of course, what the outcome will be for Mexico and Canada. But the involvement in the NAFTA negotiations of businesses here in Europe is not very big. That's different with China. Many of the things that the Trump administration wants to address here are something that people in business with China here in Europe also are concerned about. You know, the ignorance of the Chinese towards intellectual property, for example, the obstruction of European or Western businesses on the Chinese market, the more and more growing economic nationalism of China is a concern. Of course, not many people here are telling you this when the microphone is open because, you know, we have such important trade relations with China. It's not a very good idea to, you know, criticize them openly. But behind closed doors, there are a lot of concerns. And what people would like to see is, you know, that the rules that were agreed on were implemented more thoroughly and more fairly. This is something that really definitely needs some work to be done.
And I hope that the work is done in earnest. Many thanks, Conrad, for those updates there, and see you again tomorrow. And in Asia, the markets closed mixed on Monday as investors digested political developments in Washington while U.S.-South Korea joint military drills kicked off. Japan's Nikkei 225 slid 0.4% to close at 19,393.13 as gains in oil stocks were offset by softness in most automakers, financials and technology names. The benchmark index had fallen to its lowest levels in more than 3.5 months earlier in this session. Well, across the Korean Strait, the Kospi shed 0.12% as U.S.-Korea military exercises began. And down under, the S&P ASX 200 declined 0.37% to finish the session at 5,725.9. Greater China markets bucked the downward trend to climb higher, and Hong Kong's Hang Seng index gained 0.48%. On the mainland, the Shanghai Composite advanced 0.57% to close at 3,287.32, and the Shenzhen Composite rose 0.74%. The central bank's FX supplies management appears to be hedging risk in Nigeria's FX market as the injection of $464 million last week enhanced more liquidity in the system. The impact felt on other FX windows and economic indicators averaged the Nigerian autonomous foreign exchange rate fixing at $150 million daily and totals $4.7 billion in 3 months. Over $488 million matured and was settled last week at the 14th OTC FX futures market on the FMDQ OTC. The CBN has since replaced that contract with another $1 billion against August 2018. Analysts say the central bank's FX supplies management is responsible for the growth in FX reserves to around $32 billion. Well, let's take a break from those numbers now, but oil prices are steady today, holding on to Friday's big gains as market conditions tightened despite rising United States output. Brent crude futures for oil prices were at $52 per barrel from their last close. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures were at $48.54 per barrel, and that's up 3 cents from their last settlement. And this came after a 3% jump in prices on Friday. Traders say the market was somewhat held back by rising U.S. production, which has broken through 9 million barrels per day. In the meantime, the world's largest oil trader, Royal Dutch Shell plc, over the weekend in Libya, loaded its first crude in 5 years. Shell cargoed 600,000 barrels of crude from the Zutena port, a development adding to evidence of the OPEC nations' comeback. Libya is exempted from the supply cuts agreed to by OPEC countries and allied producers. According to data compiled by Bloomberg, crude output was 1.02 million barrels per day in July, representing a 4-year high. Libya has so far attracted more investors amid signs of stability after years of civil war and political division. Germany-based Wintershall AG and Russia's Rosneft are some of the latest additions into its oil industry. South Africa's rand has a slow start to the week as traders focus on consumer inflation data, hoping to provide clues on the next interest rates. The rand trades at 13.19 per dollar, 0.34% weaker than its New York close last Friday. South Africa July statistics are due for release on Wednesday. Market consensus is for the CPI to slow to 4.6% year-on-year in July from 5.1% in June. The local CPI numbers may necessitate a cut in interest rates next month or hold off till the November meeting. In the U.S. now, there'll be a total solar eclipse, and that's the first one to cross the entire country in 99 years. While businesses are estimated to lose $694 million across the state, the lightly populated state in North America is bracing up for the business opportunity expected from the event.
North America is in for treat on Monday, as a total eclipse will make its way from coast to coast. To be able to see it fully, one will have to be in the path of totality, which will cross 14 states. People in parts of South America, Africa, and Europe will see a partial eclipse. But the U.S. state of Wyoming, a lightly populated state that has often been overlooked, is about to have its moment in the sun.
I really cannot envision it. I see people wall to wall.
Glendo is expecting floods of visitors. They have mowed huge fields just north of town to accommodate the tens of thousands of people expected on eclipse weekend. Ed Fabian, the mayor of nearby Wheatland, Wyoming, which lies right on the edge of the path of totality, expects his town's population to at least double.
We're mostly concerned about the impact it's going to have on our infrastructure, our sewer, our water, our electric grid.
On the other hand, Fabian and his town is expecting a good opportunity to make lots of money. Dan Bridge, the owner of Wandering Hermit, has spent months assembling an array of merchandise, including books on astronomy, for eclipse tourists who wander into his store.
I think we'll probably have about 2 or 3 extra Christmas days this year in August, which will be pretty nice.
Hotels are booked in Wyoming, restaurants are staffed up, and T-shirts now comprise a major industry. Stores in Glendo hope to sell 70,000 of them by the time the eclipse is over.
It's fun, but whatever we have to do to help the town.
The local government hopes there are enough portable toilets and trash dumpsters for an event that has severely strained the town budget. Fabian trusts that he has accounted for all of the possibilities as well.
We prepared for the worst, and hopefully it won't be that bad.
The last solar eclipse to pass across the United States occurred on February 26, 1979, in the Pacific Northwest.
Business Incorporated returns in a moment. Please stay with us.